This video tutorial is about having two audio sources. So this is not the one that maybe you're thinking of that I mentioned with the multi-camera edit. There's only one camera involved, and that's within the computer, a recording of the computer screen itself. This is how I made the first tutorial that I showed you about white balancing. This tutorial is how to get the best sound for your project. So on this clip here, I'm going to click it on here, and you can see and hear this. And I'm going to click it until I see blue. I just saw it flash blue. And this gentleman here has a white shirt on. So you may remember this from last week. Now that sound is okay. It's not bad, but it could be a lot better. Now I recorded this with the Canon aimed at these videos that I just bought that I'm going to transfer. If you listen to the audio here, you'll hear it's a little bit more refined. Shirt on, so we're going to click on the white shirt and watch what happens to the picture. So there, the picture has recognized or made us recognize that the shirt is. Okay, so not sure how you heard that here at home, but I'm going to sync both of these together. Now, the first clip that I showed you is very simple. I'm just going to find the beginning where I did my one count. There we go. There's my one. We'll go back. So right there is going to be my in point. I press the letter I, and I'm just going to move this whole video into the sequence, into the timeline. And we'll change the sequence settings. Always change the sequence settings to match what the thing is asking you to do. So when you do that, everything's going to be in its right place. We have my audio track here, but we don't see it. So why don't we see it? And I think it's because it got lost. There it is. Okay. So you just got to scroll a little bit. So we're going to go back. And I'm probably going to edit this so that it won't be boring. Now, if you look at the audio track, I'm going to stretch it out a little bit. You'll see there's a lot of places where before the recording itself, I was just getting it ready and we were rolling, but there was no audio. So we're going to get rid of that part and start at the beginning. Remember, we synced it up after the word one. So we're going to go to the first word where I say this video tip. And now I could take the razor blade and just cut it here, but all I really have to do is take it to the beginning and squish it down. And then I'll right click, ripple delete, and it'll push it to the beginning. Now it's going to be starting when we want it to start. This video tip is a very simple one. Now, how do I add my other soundtrack to it to make a better quality audio? Now I'm going to click onto my other clip that contains the good audio but no video. Now you might say you can't see the video, you can't see what you were doing. How the heck are you going to sync these up? Well, I'm going to do the same thing and go to when I counted one, and after my first mention of the word one, that's where my in point is going to be, and then you'll see what I do after that. So there's my one. We'll go back. And here's my in point. Now, here's where I got to be a little bit careful because you can very easily, I'm going to just squish down my video right now. I don't really care about my video right now. I want to sync up the audio. So we're going to lock the tracks that we have down. One of the biggest mistakes people make is sometimes they'll try to move another video track on top and another audio track on the bottom, and they'll move things out of the way and everything will be all messed up, especially if you did a bunch of edits. Okay, this is a simple one, so it's not that intricate, but it would still be a pain in the neck. So that's why I'm locking the tracks that I already have. Now I'm going to move my clips down to here. All right. Now, if you remember, there is a point where I haven't yet started. You see that one clip is longer than the other. So the thing that is already edited is longer than what I just put in. But remember, we cut stuff out before. So we're going to extend this, the scale. And now we're going to unlock everything because it's already placed in there. And we're going to save it for good measure. We're going to press Command Save. And I am going to play this and try to find the first words that I said.
This video tip.
So this video tip. So now here you see where the audio begins here. It's this video tip probably. We are going to mute this just so that we can hear it alone.
This video tip.
All right, so because we muted the thing that we had before, we know that the start of the video is here, the start of the audio is here, and the start of the audio is here. So all we have to do, again, is squish this down and then move this down. And now we're going to take a closer look. If you can actually see the sound waves if they match. So we see that this is the first word that I said, and this is. So all we have to do by sight, and we're squishing this down. We're going to match this by eye, and that's really, really close. Now this video track, if you remember, is the one with nothing on it. So we don't really care about that. In fact, we can get rid of it. So again, we're going to lock all the tracks that we don't need to move around just so we don't have a tragedy. And we're going to delete that. And now what we should be getting, now I'm going to keep that muted. I'm going to see if this makes sense as we play it.
This video tip is a very simple one. It's about white balancing. Now, white balancing is generally associated with cameras, either video or still cameras.
Now, if we really cared whether it was perfectly in sync, like down to the frame, we could unmute it. Let's unmute it out of curiosity's sake. Now when we hear it, we should hear both audio tracks together.
Or still cameras.
Now there's a little tiny bit of an echo, which means that they're separated by maybe a frame or two, but it doesn't really matter because we're not lip syncing here. We're not trying to match anybody's mouth. This is a video tip with just a screenshot. So everything's fine. So all we have to do now is, just so that we don't have a mistake, we're going to, again, lock our tracks, and we're going to delete the audio that we don't need from the not-so-good mic.
Simple one. It's about white balancing. Now, white balancing is...
Now, the last step we're going to do is we're going to right-click onto the audio track and go into audio gain. We're going to normalize the max peak to 0. So what that does is, and nothing really moves, so I guess we recorded and we edited our audio okay.
This video tip is a very simple one. It's about white balancing.
So that's it. That's how you would sync up 2 different audio tracks, and I hope you found that beneficial.